Welcome to the third episode of Fashion Buzz with Geraldo. Today I bring you an artist that paints and draws by the name of Sid Daniels. Here we have Sid Daniels. So, hello, welcome to Fashion Buzz with Geraldo, Sid. Technical difficulties prevented us from moving forward the interview, but here we are. Okay, so go ahead and tell us a little bit about who Sid Daniels is.
Well, I'm an artist that lives in Miami Beach right now, and I grew up in Toronto, Canada. Went to the Ontario College of Art, and I had an interest in fashion, movie musicals of the 1930s, 40s, and 50s. Since I was a little kid, inspired everything that I've ever done, even to this day. And after graduation, I decided I wanted to go to New York to pursue a career in art, and just to see what it was about New York that always influenced me in the movies. So I was actually there during the height and euphoria of the disco era. That influenced my paintings and my drawings, my fashion drawings and my large-scale paintings. I stayed in New York doing commercial art for 24 years, and in 1997, I moved to Miami Beach because that's where the Art Deco district was, and was ready for me to leave. I was ready to leave New York at that time anyway. And when I went into New York, into Miami, I acclimated myself to the environment and met a lot of people there and did a lot of commercial illustration, and also continued my paintings, large-scale paintings.
Incredible. So when we spoke earlier this week, you mentioned that what led you to New York was a trip that you actually took to New York when you were in high school, correct?
When I was in high school, I took my first trip to New York, and I stayed at the Taft Hotel. It was very magical time. I fell in love with it way back then. That was in 1970, 72. No, actually, no, the 69 actually it was. So I went there, and I fell in love with New York.
Amazing.
I said, one day I'm going to move here. I didn't know when, but I was going to do it.
And you did it. That's incredible. Another thing you mentioned while you were in New York, your artwork made it to famous restaurants, in movies. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, I did. I had a painting that I created called La Mode in 1982, and it found its way magically, and not from anything that I pursued. It found its way onto a set. My friend's house was renting his apartment to the producers of the movie that was Tootsie, and he didn't know that it would be Tootsie. So I said, what the hell, just put it on the wall, and when the movie comes out, we'll know what the movie was, and we'll also know where it was or if it was even seen. So that was really incredible. Stuff like that happens in New York. And I also was working on, at the time, on murals for nightclubs in New Jersey and the Warwick Hotel and the Crown Plaza Hotel. I was doing artwork for them, working with interior designers, and working with art directors for advertising agencies, and doing album cover art for disco covers for Arista and JBC record companies and CBS International.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Out of those three that you just mentioned, which did you enjoy the most?
Out of those three, which did I enjoy the most? Well, I don't have anything. I enjoyed everything that I was doing. I don't have anything that was better than the other, because everything that I did was a stepping stone to the next thing. Yeah. So I learned as I went along. That was my experience. I learned everything that I am today is from everything that I've done before. but I think that having my work in a movie is really incredible.
Yeah,
And
awesome.
the Ann Taylor shopping bag actually was actually the most important thing I did for the shop. They converted one of my the shopping bag into a silk scarf that they sold in the stores in New York on the Upper West East Side, I think it was.
That's incredible.
That was
And how did that come about?
I had an agent at the time, and she found the art director who was looking for somebody who was going to create, who wanted to do something new. So they liked my work, and I did a face of a woman that landed on the bag.
Incredible. That's
So
really
Art
amazing.
Deco inspired.
Right. And so they sold that in their shops and in department stores as well, or did
It
they
was
distribute
the
it?
Ann Taylor shops. You know, it was the bag that people were walking out the store with. So it was like free advertising with my work.
Incredible. That's incredible.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm sure. And they do say you can't buy that kind of press, right?
You can't buy it now.
Exactly. And you were paid to actually do it, which is that much more, amazing.
And the same thing happened to the Fiorucci. That was a very big boutique in New York City on 57th or 58th Street. I don't remember, across the street from Bloomingdale's. It was a very high fashion boutique.
I do remember Fiorucci, yes.
And I walked in there and showed them my work, and they said, "Would you be interested in doing large scale, what is it called, large scale sculptures to hang
Wow.
our merchandise on?" So we did like bookend designs, bookend artwork that I created in acrylic of Art Deco inspired women that I was doing in my artwork with the high heel shoes and the paintings. That became a very big, that was a big project, and I was very happy to be involved in that. And I made the cover of Look magazine as well.
Wow.
So that was the closing issue of Look magazine, and my artwork was on the cover of Look.
Wow, that's incredible. And so you said Look magazine, or
Look magazine.
okay, was that famous back in the 70s, 80s?
Yes, it was like on the same level as Life, Look,
wow.
McCall. So that made the cover, and it didn't give me any credit, so it made the cover though.
Just making the cover. Do you still have that cover with you?
I still have it. Yeah, it's
incredible.
in mothballs.
Yes, when we spoke earlier in the week, we also discussed the fact that you actually have enough work to just fill a gallery, which is, or even an.
I have enough work literally to have a retrospective in a museum. I could fill a museum with everything that I've done on canvases and artwork on paper. I have tons of work.
Unbelievable. And the backdrop, excuse me?
Over the last 45 years of doing artwork, I have enough work to cover all those spaces, yes.
Incredible, incredible. So the actual, your backdrop there, that's your work, correct?
Oh, yes. One of my paintings. Here is an example of
Unbelievable.
Just two of my works. These are this is work that I did here in Miami on 2006, 2013, and the themes are umbrellas and the iconic women that I do that I've been creating all these years. Pulling out one of my early sketches. I don't know if you can see it. This is just an early sketch of my shoes that I created.
Yeah, so we discussed that earlier this week, and you mentioned that the shoes became your signature with all of your paintings, correct? In the earlier time of your painting phase.
Yes, they did. And I'm pulling up. I mentioned that I did a lot of fashion drawing, but this is what I'm currently doing in my fashion. I'm doing illustrations.
Beautiful.
For myself. They're not for anybody else. They're not commercially commissioned. This is what I've been working on, and I've also been working on portraits,
Beautiful.
iconic women. This is Maria Montez.
Very nice.
So this is what I've been doing as of this year, 2020, 2020.
Incredible. That is incredible. Tell us a little bit of, other than what you just showed us, what else are you doing right now? What else are
Well,
you
all I'm doing right now is drawing. This is a passion that I had when I moved to New York in 1978. I was doing that for 3 years. Fashion illustration. This is when I started just exploring my media, which is pencil, Prismacolor pencil and gouache and markers. And at that time, my work was very naive, but it was still very exciting. But I just like learned as I went along, like everything else.
Right.
And I put it away after maybe 1983, and I just went back into my paintings and did all of those artworks that I showed you. That's on my website and also on my Instagram account. I have everything there. But that's what I was doing in New York until I came to Miami. Now I'm doing. I put my painting away for a year, and I've only been concentrating on my drawings, my fashion drawings. Fashion images.
Right. And now you mentioned Miami. Tell us a little bit about what your journey was like and is, right? In Miami. That's actually what brought us together. We met in Miami because, as you know, I lived there for 18 years, and we met in around that later in my time there. But tell us a little bit about Miami, the things you've done there, your inspiration there, so on and so forth.
Yes, when I came to Miami, I got involved with the city of Miami Beach, and I did a lot of pro bono posters for the Festival of the Arts in 2004. I also did a poster for a national ad campaign for the Nescafe coffee Brazilian brand. The art director loved my work because of my Brazilian women. I did that. I got involved with, I had a few shows here in Miami at the Sol Gallery, a few one-man shows, the 1992 United States Ballroom Championships at the Fontainebleau Hotel in Miami. So I was perfect for that job. And I had an agent that pursued that for me. And I also had my work published in the big book, the Big Book of Fashion Illustration, published by Nova Books. They published my work in there. And the 2004 Festival of the Arts poster, I think I just mentioned that. And Flamingos on the Beach, that was a very big project in 2001. Every city has their own, animal. In Miami, it was the flamingos. So I just jumped into that and I said, oh, that's going to be fun. So I did 10 of those, 10 commissions for different people around Miami. I think 4 or 5 of them still exist that I am aware of.
Yeah, that's incredible. I'm glad you brought that up because I was just about to say, wait, talk about the flamingos because I remember.
No, there's a lot of stuff I'm leaving out, but that was one of them. That was very.
Oh, it's huge. I remember the flamingos all across southern Florida. They were absolutely beautiful, and I remember seeing them all over the place. And I saw one of yours. That's the reason I brought it up earlier this week to you because, but I didn't know that you had done 10. That's unbelievable.
I did 10.
That's incredible. I mean, I would have loved to have seen the other 9 because I know I saw one of them. I don't remember about the other 9, but that's really, really amazing. I'll never forget that. It was so beautiful.
One of the flamingos was called Flamenco Flamingo, and I did it with a pair of shoes that I sculpted out of paper mache. Wow. So these were like huge. This is 2001. When Miami was starting to be, they were doing all of the new hotels they were building, and I remember hauling it out of the place I was working in, the Bancroft Hotel that was empty at the time, and we were moving them all over the place for me to photograph them when they were finished. So it was fun.
Yeah, it was amazing. And isn't that around the time that our Basel started in Miami?
Art Basel started, I think, if I'm not mistaken, in 2010,
Okay,
because it's a 10-year. I think it's 2010. I may be wrong,
okay,
but
okay.
I didn't get involved into the art fairs until 3 years ago. I did the Aqua Art Fair. I had my work exhibited there, um, and I was in Spectrum, the Spectrum Art Fair. So
Okay,
I've been in 2 art fairs so far. It's an
fabulous.
expensive proposition, but it was worth it, and
Exactly.
I don't think they're going to have it this year because of the coronavirus. So.
Right. But yes, so what do you see yourself doing moving forward?
Well, that's a great. Moving forward, I've always had the idea that I want to do a book
Yeah.
of my work,
Wow, that's amazing.
a retrospective of my work. If it's not going to be a physical retrospective, then I think a book of everything that I've done or
Spectacular.
the highlights. I think that's something in the back of my head. But I'm glad that I've waited because now I can introduce the drawings that I've been working on because
Yes.
those are really very important. So I think there's a reason for everything. Um, so it's doing a book. I also want to get involved with retail projects like maybe T-shirts, maybe reproductions of my work,
Yeah.
limited editions of my work.
Yes.
So this is probably stuff that's going to probably come out when the book comes out. When the book comes out, so I'm not sure about the time frame, but something in the back of my mind.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the fact that you're even talking about it, I think it's more front of mind than you think and than you believe it is. You know what I mean? The fact you're
Yeah,
talking about it, that's brilliant in itself. And then just keep working toward that, and I'm sure it's going to manifest itself. It's going to be incredible. I look forward to that. And with that said, Sid, where can people find you?
you can find me on my website, which is www.siddaniels.com. Also on Instagram, which is www.instagram.com/Sid Daniels Official.
Fantastic. All right, great. Well, thank you so much for taking time out and sitting down and speaking to me and sharing with us your beautiful work and your stories. I wish you all the best. It's been a real pleasure knowing you and in being your friend for so many years. And so we'll at some point when you release your book and your artwork on for retail, we'll have you back on and we'll visit that time in your life.
It's a pleasure talking to you, Gerald. Thank you so much.
Geraldo, but okay. All right,
I'm here,
Sid.
Geraldo.
That's cool. All right, great talking to you. We'll talk again. All
Thank
the
you.
best to you. Take care.
Okay, thanks.